This is another e-learning tutorial from dakinane.com. This is zoom.us and we're going to sign up for an account. It's free, so we just click on here, sign up, it's free. Now that this page has opened up, you can either sign up with your work email address, but the easiest thing to do for most of us is to sign up with your Google account. Now I've already signed up, so I'm going to sign in. In a browser like Firefox, like me, as soon as you've installed Zoom, you get a little application in the toolbar like this. If you're using Google Chrome, what you can do is you can go to the Chrome Web Store and you can search for Zoom, and you get the Zoom scheduler, and you can add that to Chrome, add extension, and that will show you how to add up over here. You can then schedule, just like from my toolbar, you can add a scheduler. You sign in with your Google account. And so from here, I can schedule a meeting, and we'll get onto all of that in a moment. But that's how you do it with the Chrome browser. So I'm just going to quit out of this. To my Zoom account, as you can see here, I've got my personal profile over here, my meetings that are upcoming, my webinars, my recordings, and my settings. And over here you've got three tabs: schedule a meeting, join a meeting, or host a meeting. And we are going to look at host a meeting options here, with a video off, with a video on, or screen share only. We can schedule a new meeting. So if we wanted to go straight into host a meeting with video on, let's click on this. So you can see me here on here, and we can now invite our participants. And what we're going to do now is we're going to copy an invitation or copy the URL. We'll use copy the URL, and now we can come back to our web browser, and we can click right, and we can paste the web link into here, or you could post it into your Google Classroom and send it to wherever your students are, and just send it. Seeing how to host a meeting immediately, what we can also do now is schedule a meeting. So we're going to schedule a meeting for a point in the future, which is great to set up with our students. So I'm just going to click on this, open this up. You can give your meeting a name. So if it's a regular meeting, so it could be, I put your description in here. So and you can set the date. So you can scroll through whenever you want to put it. So let's say we're organising ourselves for the, when's term start? Is it the 16th? And you can get to the time, so we make it PM, and you can only schedule it for 40 minutes or keep it nice and short, make it 30 minutes. Make sure you're in the right time zone, and if it's a recurring thing, you can click on this recurring option. Generate automatically. You can require a password. I don't generally do that. Put the host video on, put the participant video on. I just use computer audio because the students aren't going to be using telephones. Enable students to join before the host. You could decide to mute participants on entry, enable a waiting room. And this is very useful, and I recommend you do this. Record the meeting for any students that aren't going to make it. If you make the recording, what your students can then do is come and watch this afterwards. Click on save. And we've now got a URL, and this URL for the future can be posted out to your students, and they can join the meeting in the schedule as you set. So let's have a look at some of the features that you can get inside a Zoom meeting. As the meeting convener, I've got this menu down here, and we need to look at what the response side for the participants are. But we've got, we can mute the video, we've got some options down here. We can look at this to set things to the right audio. Obviously I've turned the video off, but you've got some options here. Choose a virtual background, which is something that allows you to make the interesting background a bit more interesting if you wanted to. So you can put this in the background, download that and play. So this will now have the Aurora Borealis probably in the background. There we go. So now I've got this in the background if I wanted to, etc, etc. So I'm just going to click none for the moment, close that. So there are some options in here. Obviously inside the meeting we can now invite people from my contacts or just email it out. We've looked at that before. We can manage our participants. When your participants are in here, we've got some options over here. We can rename them, edit the profile picture. We can mute them. We can turn the video off, on or off, because we're in control of this. We can have a chat going down here. You can turn this off. Importantly, here's the record button that we can use to actually record the whole session, and I recommend you use that. And then we've got the reactions button. But what's really powerful with this is if we start using the share screen option. So we're going to click on share screen. What comes up here is a range of options that we can choose. So we can have a whiteboard, which we can collaborate on. We've got our desktop. I can show one of my tabs. And we've got iPhone and iPad via AirPlay and via cable, which would be a really useful tool. And we'll look at some of these other things in a moment. But let's look at the multiplication game option here. So imagine we're working with some students and a student has shared a desktop with us. If I just move the screen up a little bit. I've just rolled the screen up a little bit because it's important that you see from my perspective as the meeting convener, I've got an ID and I've got another subsequent menu that pops up here as part of my screen share. I can mute my audio, start the video, manage participants, etc. But what's important here is the annotate function here. I'm going to click on this, which pops up another video. So I can draw, I can select options, I can format my drawing. So I'm going to choose the thickness of my pen and the font size. But now I can collaborate. So let's, for example, say a student was stuck. We can now look at this. There seems to be a fault in this code here. Why is that being set to what's missing here? We can highlight on what's going on and point out things that they think they might need to work with. And again, if you're using the record function, this can be kept so the students can replay it after they've had their moment of time with you, or if they've been collaborating, working together in that same way. So this sharing the desktop and then using the annotate function is a very powerful tool that we can look at. And then you can see here also we can actually save that screenshot as a screenshot that we can share elsewhere as well.